Hey everybody, Baldoric here. Today we're going to be talking about the new Tempest Trial unit, who is Rhys. So he is going to be coming to Tempest Trials within like the next day or two. I don't quite remember. It's the 18th of June right now, so I think it's tomorrow. I don't really remember. But anyways, he's going to be the new free unit, and I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about how to actually use this unit if you are interested in using him. Now, I will say that I do think staff units can be a little bit underwhelming, but they do have a place, they do have use, mostly as support roles, and I kind of want to talk about what he brings to that table. Now, looking at his stats, you already do see he does have a good res stat, and he has a pretty decent attack stat with an okay HP stat. Otherwise, speed and defense, a little bit lacking, but not bad for a Tempest Trial unit. His weapon that he does come with in this Tempest Trial is called Palm Staff, because it's a palm tree, and it inflicts attack and speed -5 on foes within 2 spaces during combat. Now, personally, not a big fan of the staff. It has some possible uses. It's fine for using him like normally, like on a budget, totally fine. It's great, possibly on other units that are more aggressive staff users that actually do want those penalties on the foe to make sure that that staff user can double and anything like that. But for him, it's not as good. There are other roles I think he fills a little bit better for a staff user. So we're going to take a look at an Aether Raids arena and a budget build for this unit, and let's start with the Aether Raids one. Now obviously this is a max invest, but there are other ways you can build it with lower costing things. But the reason I build it with Melancholy and these particular skills, I think Restore Plus, Earth Firebomb are probably the best way to go for most healers. Melancholy is great because it's going to inflict Guard. Now, what's good about inflicting Guard is that's basically an alternative to having Pulse Smoke if you don't have it, and you can get him in to get that one attack off to make sure that the effect of Melancholy goes off. Now, Melancholy is a little bit difficult to obtain. It could also be Witchy Wand. They do the exact same thing, so if you have either of those floating around, you could use either one. I chose Melancholy because I do believe it's a little bit easier to get that, because Silk is, can be potentially come out of any gray pulling pool, but, Mia is a Halloween exclusive, which means you only get her on some banners or during Halloween time when they bring that banner back. So it's a little bit easier to get Silk, which is why I chose Melancholy. Now you'll notice that I chose Wrathful Melancholy and also Dazzling Staff. That's a fairly standard combination. You could also switch this to be Dazzling Melancholy with Wrathful Staff, depending on what you have. Honestly, either way is fine. Just have some combination of the two so that you are able to utilize both of the staff effects, which allow the foe to not be able to counterattack and you to do damage like it was a normal weapon. Now, Fortified Defense Res, I chose this here because, one, his attack stat is decent for a staff user anyways, and you're only losing a little bit. I think you're only losing 2 attack stat to gain quite a bit of res and defense, which puts him at a respectable 37 defense and 48 res. And this is obviously taking into account, 1, Naga and Altina on the team, because this is for Astra season, and 2, we have not factored in any buffs that could be coming from allies. So depending on who you have him built with, this could also be a very powerful thing there. Now, in the C slot, I put Joint Drive Attack because that is typically I would put in Drive Attack here, but we're going for max invest. So if you wanted to go for something a little bit more budget, you can replace this with a Hone or Drive of your choice, depending on how your team is built, to make sure that you can utilize a little bit of extra buffing in that C slot. Just build it around what you already have for buffs on your team or what your team might need for buffs. Live to Serve 3 is a fairly standard option as well, because if he gets hurt, it's a way to heal him and keep your support character alive. This could be switched to do something else, like you could use a Fortified Defense here if you're not too worried about attacking, you just want to give him a little bit more tankiness. You can put in other slots in like a Brazen or something like that. Typically, I recommend for staff users to use Live to Serve 3 if you're not planning on doing a whole lot other than just providing support. but depending on other things that you might want them to do, you may want to swap out something here like a Brazen or a Fort that'll give them those extra stats. That's all play style with this kind of a unit. So, but that's how I think he's going to work well in AR. Just a standard support staff unit that was going to have relatively decent tankiness, especially in that res stat, which is very good, especially in this season where you do see a lot of tome users. Now, Arena is not going to look too much different. I honestly decided, looking at what I had, that it was basically good to go. The only thing that I would recommend having here is C dual infantry, and that is because staff users do score less. Because you can't invest into their support slot or their special skill slot with a high invested item, or high invested skill rather. So usually to counteract this, you're going to want to have that C dual infantry to really make up for lost stats so that he does score a little bit better. Now, it's not useless. You still get the extra HP, which actually brings his HP up to a 55, which is really good. He does lack in defense. You're going to want to make sure that you have an ally that's going to give him defense, or if you have other skills that can give defense with him, that's fine too. Live to Serve 3 could be Fort Defense if you wanted to go that way as well. And the Joint Drive Attack doesn't need to be this. You can make it any other of the C slots that are a 4th rank, so the high scoring C slot skills. And again, you can change Dazzling Staff and Wrathful Staff around how you want to use them, whether you want the Dazzling or Wrathful Staff skill, and the Refine is completely up to you. So, but relatively the same build, just a support unit. It's going to be filling out the same role as you would in any other mode, but the C dual infantry is really going to be important if you want to use him for max scoring in Arena. If you're not going for max scoring, you can still use the Fort Defense Res or another skill like that. But if you do want to min-max, you're going to want that C dual infantry for most staff users anyway. So I would recommend getting that before considering using him in Arena. Now, the budget build. So what I decided to do is do a build with him right out of the box. Like, what can you do with this unit if you get him? And this is kind of what I've come up with. So it's using a lot of the skills that he already has in his base kit. The Brazen Attack Res, Heavenly Light, Psychic Plus. The difference is I am building it so that he's going to be a support unit with Wings of Mercy, Drive Attack, and Live to Serve 3 as his S slot. Now, what's good about using these skills, with the Brazen, if he is in range, excuse me, to use the Brazen, he is going to be going up to 53 attack. He is going to have 43 res, which is very respectable, especially with no pluses if he's in that range. And with Wings of Mercy, he's going to be able to jump in and either heal somebody for jumping in, or he can attack somebody and maybe even finish someone off that can't counterattack because of Palm Staff. Now, he is not going to be able to double unless he is going against an armored enemy, and then the Palm Staff, by reducing the attack and speed -5, actually do give him a bit of a chance to double on something like an armored unit, depending on which armored unit it is, of course. But something to keep in mind, with very low scoring speed stat units, there's a chance for him doubling if you're using Palm Staff, which is why I decided to keep it for his base kit. Could work against some of those units, most likely not, I wouldn't count on it. The big thing you can do with this unit, though, is the Wings of Mercy to go in and heal your allies. That way they have Drive Attack, because you just Wings of Mercy to them, so they will be moving within 2 spaces unless it's a cav unit, but then you can try to work around that. So you'll get that extra attack stat, and anything else that you may want to put. Now, if you want to invest a little bit in this unit, you could obviously swap Psychic Plus and Heavenly Light if there are other support or special skills for healers you want to use. Possibly better ones than this. There are obviously better alternatives to Heavenly Light. Heavenly Light's not really all that great anyways. It just gives a little bit of AoE healing. But there are definitely better options out there. And if you have one you want to use, go ahead and do that instead. Live to Serve 3 is on there because, once again, it is important. Now, I did consider not using this because of the Brazen that's on this unit, but in general, I think this unit's more going to be for support, and I'd rather just keep him alive. So I did keep Live to Serve as an S slot. If you wanted to change this, I would put another Brazen in that slot, this time attack defense. So that way when you're in that range to use the Brazen skills, you're getting 14 attack, 7 res, 7 defense, which is just going to make him a little bit more tanky, able to do a little bit more, take a little bit more, and I think he'll just perform fairly well on a budget. That being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked content like this, please consider subscribing. I'm going to be putting out more videos just like this anytime new units come out. Any news I share on my Twitter, which you can find on my channel below. And any support was greatly appreciated. If you liked the video, give me a like. Write your ideas in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your builds, on how you'd like to build this unit yourself. Are you going to be using him at all? Or is he just going to be fodder for other skills that you need in the heroic grail pool? That being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time.